Jaeden, something you and I were texting about a lot, and I realized that we hadn't done a podcast on, and so I think that you read a bunch about this story. So I don't think I'm catching you off guard on this. Usually we do more prep than this, but this is just sort of an exciting one. Is that have we actually cracked this one-person billion-dollar startup using AI? Sam Altman sort of had apparently bets with his colleagues about when it would happen. So we are close. There's a little bit about like, has this actually happened or not? But there's this guy, Matthew Gallagher, with his telehealth startup called Medve. And people are saying like he kind of did it. I think his revenue was something like $1.8 billion or something like that. Now, was he literally one person? I think he kind of like sort of did it with his brother. But the point is that it rings true to sort of like what people are getting at, which was this possible? I have a lot of thoughts about like what this looks like and how he did it and what people think it is versus what it actually is, all that kind of stuff. But Jaeden, two things. First of all, I know you've been talking a lot about this on your other podcasts, so I want to kind of hear your thoughts on that. But also, I don't want to get off the podcast without you talking about how you have leveraged sort of like just AI and everything else to build AI Box. And guys, if you haven't tried AI Box at AI, definitely try it out. It is the absolute hot new thing. It's absolutely incredible. You get to try out sort of like all these models for even like less than $10 a month. Compare and contrast. It's literally what Microsoft is trying to build into their own products right now. You can also build out workflows. You can do a tremendous amount of things. Like it's growing like crazy. AIbox.ai. So Jaeden, having built AIbox.ai with, and I know it's not just you have other people, but you have really leveraged AI. So would love to hear your thoughts on Matt Gallagher and this whole thing, and then your perspective as somebody who's trying to do the same kind of thing.
Okay, two things. The first is I actually absolutely think it is incredibly impressive what he's been able to build. And like, I think kind of the headline here is like how AI helped one man and his brother. The thing is, the company has nothing to do with AI. It's like a medical company. I mean, they basically sell like versions of Ozempic. And there's a whole bunch of actually kind of shady things about the company, which people have kind of been pointing out. Yeah. So like, I'll cover some of those, but I do want to shout out some of the interesting things that's going on there. So one of the shady things is basically he made 800 Facebook accounts where they're like, Wall Street Journal's like, he used AI. It's so cool. And it's like, he literally used AI to make fake profiles of fake non-existent doctors and then ran Facebook ads to boomers to buy Ozempic from these fake AI doctors. So, okay, that's probably a little bit illegal. And there's a bunch of like lawsuits and FDA stuff against him and stuff. I'm really shocked that he did the profile in the New York Times, to be honest, because on the one hand, it's like, yeah, super cool. It's like a lot of clout, but like now everyone's scrutinizing him and realizing that his company broke a ton of laws. And I don't know how he gets away with them all. But I mean, he's got a lot of money, so I'm sure his lawyers can handle it. But in any case, like ethics of the business aside, and also, I think what's interesting, okay, one other interesting point on that before I get away from the ethics of the business, the big headline here was like him and his brother, wow, two people. I've like read this post where like inside of the article where it's like he was on a hike and the website went down and he like ran back as fast as he could home because he was the only person that could turn the website back on, and he turned it back on and he lost 200 customers from it. And like on the one hand, you have to ask yourself, why would you, making $1 billion, only have two people in your organization? Like, why would you do that? Like you lost customers when your server goes. Okay, the probable answer is there's like fraud and sketchy things that you're doing. So that's probably the answer. Don't sue me, bro, Mr. Medve. So, but that, I mean, come on, guys. Why would you not hire more people if you're making $2 billion? As cool as it sounds, there's no way. Okay, so I'm gonna get away from all the ethics of it though. The reality is he wasn't able to start a $2 billion company using two people and AI. And I do think that's crazy. Regardless of the ethics, could he have done this like way more legally and way more ethically and made half as much money? Yes, 100%. So I don't think that it's like a complete discount on the business. What I do think you can see today is you are getting an absolute 10x on your capabilities leveraging AI tools inside of what you do. He already had his strategy, right? He was going to spin up 800 Facebook accounts. Like he had his strategies. He used AI to leverage and grow them. Obviously, like he couldn't have done it all without it. And I do think that goes to just show inside of your own business, inside of your own job, you 100% can use AI to leverage it up. What we've been doing over at AI Box, like you mentioned, Connor, we have absolutely like our company would not be able to execute and push out as many features to the level it does without using Claude Code, without using all of these AI tools to basically help us build, design, deploy everything that we're doing. Now, of course, we have humans that work on stuff and that are doing things, and it has brought in a lot of amazing opportunities, but we really are automating to a very high degree, sometimes with our own tools. Sometimes we'll just use an AI, like I use AI box tools to help me with a lot of my like podcast production stuff, for example,
Mhm.
come with a lot of the things that I work on. And there's a lot of AI tools like even Claude Cowork that are now helping with like podcast editing, which was just
Right.
crazy to think of in the past. So you 100% can level up what you're doing. Now, two people to $2 billion, I think we're not going to see a lot of those. I don't think that's going to become a common headline unless there's something sort of shady involved, because you might as well get more people, and like it doesn't cost that much money to have 150 people running a $2 billion company and getting a lot more leverage out of it.
Yeah, that's the I got to tell you that's the part that also got me too, which is I was thinking, when we first were growing our company, like we were small and all that kind of stuff, but then I'm like, but as we start to get big clients, like we're like, well, we need more people. Like, could we have done it? Like, maybe, but why? Like, we're making, there's a lot of revenue coming in and all that kind of stuff. Like, why would you do it? It just seems like such a weird thing unless you actually like stumbled upon the one person, whatever. But if you're going to make $1 billion, yeah, why not just like have a person just checking your calendar for you? It doesn't make any sense unless you're just trying to prove a point, which seems pretty silly when it's $1 billion at stake. The thing that I think, has been missing from this conversation a ton is like what it means to use AI to scale to a giant amount of money, right? And one of the things that sort of I think makes these kinds of things misleading is like in Inc. magazine or whatever the headline was. I'm just reading here: the one employee $1 billion startup, how AI is changing the face of solopreneurship. Right? Okay, fine. But then it says the subheadline is a startup founder used tools like ChatGPT and Claude to write code, run customer service, and scale a telehealth business. So basically, it said it did two things in that little subheadline: write code, yeah, fair enough. Run customer service. You don't get to $1 billion because you automated customer service. I think this is one of the huge things that is really leading people astray on how you use AI to scale your business. If, for example, you're a solopreneur, guys. And Jaeden, you've shared these memes before too, where it's like, hey, I just spent 20 hours, Claude coding this thing that only took me like 5 minutes every 3 weeks or something like that, right? The math does not make any sense. And people get caught up in that math of like, I get it's fun to make agents and it's fun to sort of like, do vibe coding. Like I've been doing more and more of that recently. But that's not what drives AI mindset success. Like what drives our success, for example, is having really great people, often generalists, using AI to expand how they think and expand what we do. And now, more recently, it's having, and to be totally frank, again, I think I mentioned this on a previous podcast, but since 4.5 came out in November, December, whatever it is, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is now taking the place of an even higher order of sort of like employee that I would have had otherwise. So it's not about like, can you automate this and can you automate that? That's not what AI is. It's not even agents. It's not even any of that stuff. Like what it is, are you using your brain and your best people's brains absolutely to the max with AI? And so forget $1 billion startup if you're not a solopreneur. Think about like with your, if you're like inside a company or something like that, like when you're trying to drive new revenue streams and everything like that, that does not come because you've automated your email or you have an email coming into you every morning with some reminders about this. Guys, those things, it reminds me of 2023 and it drives me crazy. That is not how you scale into a big business. They all sound great. They don't do that much. Like who cares if my calendar is now being managed by AI? That didn't take me that long to begin with. What I need is somebody helping me build out this giant thing that we're building out, AI Mindset, which we haven't revealed yet, but building out this giant sort of like a lightweight consulting platform, which is really, really cool. That has nothing to do with whether or not like my emails are sort of like getting sorted into the right folders by AI. It comes from having the absolute top models helping us do the impossible. And that's what's exciting to me.
Yep. And the last thing that I'll say is the more you know, like what you do, the more of a domain expert you are in your area, the more you're able to actually leverage AI to automate and to do what you do best. And it's someone that is, if you're an absolute sales expert in your specific industry, you sell steel beams and you sell them better than anyone else, you're going to be able to create AI tools and use AI tools and leverage them to go further than anyone else can in your industry. So I would also say that, like, as far as a lot of people that are concerned, like, oh my gosh, if he made a whole company with just 2 people, like, he's gonna, if he comes into my industry, like, my whole company is not gonna be needed, I won't be needed. Like, at the end of the day, everyone that is doing a job today is just going to be able to be more productive using these tools. So I see a ton of incredible opportunity for everyone. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into the podcast today. This is a wild story. This is a lot of fun. It's a whirlwind. Hopefully I don't get sued for saying he committed fraud. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. Well, that was all for entertainment purposes.
Speculation, just speculation, just speculation.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll catch you in the next episode. And as always, make sure to check out the link in the description to Conor's AI Mindset course. If you haven't already, you're crazy. It is the greatest thing you could ever do to level up your skills with AI. All right, we'll catch you guys in the next episode.